Hello my dear students, a very good morning to one and all. Okay, today we are in the last topic of the structure of atom. So we have discussed various models during the development of an atom, structure of an atom, and the last model what we have discussed was Bohr's atomic model, and I told you Bohr's model was almost complete. It gave us 90% idea about the structure of the model. And even Bohr's model had some disadvantages or drawbacks. So the last and well accepted model, and still the model that we are using still now, is quantum mechanical model. So this chapter, this part is going to be very important in the exam point of view. Okay, so that is why I am giving importance to this topic only in this class. Quantum mechanical model. So it is the most advanced and accurate model of the atom used today by chemists and the physicists. In this model, electrons do not exist as tiny points. Okay, we were still till now we were thinking that electrons are tiny points and they'll be just rotating in the circular orbits. But instead, these are surrounding the nucleus in the form of a cloud. Okay, why we say in the form of a cloud? I'll discuss it later. Quantum mechanics is the theoretical science that deals with the study of the motions of the microscopic objects that have both observable wave-like and particle-like properties. Quantum mechanics is based on fundamental equation and which is called as Schrödinger equation. H psi is equal to E psi. Okay, what is this psi? Psi is the amplitude of the wave. This is the Schrödinger wave equation. Okay, as of now, you no need to worry about this equation. Okay, simply you try to understand what is this. H cap, actually this H should consist of a small symbol, okay, like this. H cap psi is equal to E psi. H cap means an operator. Operator means what? Any function like differentiation, integration. So that's an operator. Okay, so any operator operating on this psi would be equal to energy multiplied by psi. So what is psi? Psi is the wave function, or psi is the amplitude of the wave. Okay, this is the equation given by Schrödinger, a relationship given by the Schrödinger equation. So what I told you, psi is the amplitude of wave, but psi has no significance. Okay, we will be finding out a psi square in order to find out the probability of finding an electron. So that is called as probability density. Now we are speaking about the orbital, the region of space around the nucleus where the probability of finding an electron is maximum is called as an orbital. Okay, do you know what is the shape of a s orbital? It is spherically shaped. What is the shape of a p orbital? Okay, now only the concept of orbital is coming into play. As of now, we were thinking only orbits. We were talking only about the orbits. What are orbitals? Orbitals are even sub-levels in an orbit. In an orbit, you will be having the orbitals. Okay, you will be having different type of orbitals. So what are they? S orbital, p orbital, d orbital and f orbital. Okay, even the sub-levels of an orbit, I can call in that way. So you must learn about the difference between an orbit and the orbital. You can check your textbook and learn how they are differentiated, or you can also Google it. Okay, so difference between orbit and orbital is an important question. Now I told you orbital is a sub-level. So how many orbitals we have? S orbital, p orbital, d and f orbital. So as I already told you, s orbital is spherically shaped. And what is the shape of a p orbital? Dumbbell shape. this is one, the purple colored orbital I have shown you here na. This is actually a dumbbell, and this is how your p orbital looks like. And you see the yellow colored one. What are the yellow colored dots? They were the electrons. Are the electrons static in one place? No, they keep on traveling in the dumbbell shape. Is it not? That is why I'm calling it as probability density. Okay, they are not simply points which are present in one place. So this is what was explained by Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The position and the momentum. The position and the momentum of an electron cannot be determined precisely simultaneously. See, they keep on moving, is it not? And how they are moving? They are not moving randomly, but they are moving in the p dumbbell shaped region. That is why we are telling it is p shaped. This orbital means in this p shape, in this the dumbbell shape, anywhere you can find out the electron. Okay, the electron can be found anywhere in this region. In which region? In this dumbbell shaped region. That is why I am calling this as p orbital. Okay, so p orbital, we have three orientations: px, py and pz. If the orbital is oriented in the y direction, then it is py orbital. If it is in the z direction, it is pz orbital. If it is in the x direction, it is your px orbital. Okay, you know x, y and z axis. Actually, generally how we represent this x and y is, you just draw a line, okay, on the plane. So the line lying in the plane is actually, so see the right angle triangle, you see the right angle line. So this line is actually x orbital, and this line is actually y orbital. And imagine a line is coming towards you. Okay, in a 3D shape, you imagine if a line is coming towards you from the center point, that is z orbital. Okay, so if the two lobes are lying in the x-axis, that is px orbital. If the two lobes are lying in the z direction, that is py or pz. So in p, three orientations are possible. So px, py and pz are cumulatively shown here in this diagram. So what is the orbital? Orbital is nothing but a region of space around the nucleus where the probability of finding an electron is maximum. In this dumbbell region, you can find the electron anywhere, but you cannot say where it is present. See, once you see here, it is moving away. Anywhere in this region it is present, not anywhere outside this, only in this region. That is called as orbital. Okay, when Schrödinger equation is solved for a hydrogen atom, the solution gives the possible energy levels to the electron, and which can occupy, and the corresponding wave functions of the electrons associated with each energy level. So what is the solutions of the Schrödinger equation? What is Schrödinger equation? H cap psi is equal to E psi. What are the solutions of Schrödinger equation? The solutions are nothing but the address. Okay, just like the address for finding out your electron. So how do you write your address? You will write your address like mentioning your name in the first line. Then you will be mentioning the door name or flat number. Then your apartment name or apartment or the locality you're present in. Okay, or the street name. Then you will write the locality. Got it? And finally your city. Then coming to the state. Is it not? This all consists of your address lines. So when they solve, the Schrödinger equation is a complex equation. Now you are seeing only H cap psi is equal to E psi. But it is a complex equation, and once when they mathematically solved the complex equation, they got some solutions. Those solutions are nothing but address lines for finding out the electron. Okay, till now, at this point, before the Schrödinger equation was solved, they were saying yes, electrons were present, they were present in orbits, energy level, so and so. But exactly where it is present, how it is present, okay, all the information were given by the Schrödinger equation. So the solutions of Schrödinger equation is the quantum numbers. So we are going to study the quantum numbers. So the quantum numbers can specify energy of an orbital, size of an orbital, shape of an orbital, as well as orientation of an orbital. So see, like the address lines, like the 4 address lines you mentioned for your house, see how the address line for the electrons were given by Schrodinger equation. So when you solve the Schrodinger equation, you can understand the energy, size, shape and orientation of an orbital. So to specify an orbital, only 3 quantum numbers are required, while to specify an electron, all the 4 quantum numbers are required. Got it? Okay. What are those quantum numbers? We have 4 quantum numbers. The first one is principal quantum number. The second one is orbital quantum number. The third one is magnetic quantum number, and the fourth one is spin quantum number. Okay. So principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, magnetic quantum number and spin quantum number. These are the 4 quantum numbers. So first coming to the principal quantum number. This, what is the symbol for principal quantum number? N, small n. Okay. It defines the shell, determines the size and the energy of the orbitals. Now you know the shells, is it not? You know the shells K, L, M and N. So in the K shell, how many orbitals are present? That is given by your principal quantum number. So for the shell K, okay, for the shell K, number of orbitals that can exist is 1. For the shell L, the number of orbitals that is existing is 4. So how I say K contains only 1 orbital, means it contains only s orbital, and the L shell contains s and p, and M shell contains s, p and d, and this last N shell contains s, p, d and f. Okay, so each orbital can accommodate a maximum of 2 electrons. So I told you s orbital, 1 means only 1 s orbital it contains. So s can accommodate maximum of 2n electrons. Got it? 2n electrons. How many electrons it can occupy maximum? 2n electrons. N means the total number of orbitals it has. So this contains only s. I'll write here. So 1 means only yes, 1s. 4 means s and p. Then s, p and d. And the last one is s, p, d and f. Okay. Now you see. Okay, now you see. So in the K shell it can have 1 s orbital. Then in the L shell it can have 2s and 2p orbitals. So this 1 is the principal quantum number, is it not? So 1s orbital can exist. And what is the next thing? 2s and 2p can exist. What is the third one? 3s, 3p and 3d can exist. What is the fourth one? 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. So if I say 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f, that belongs to the capital N shell. Got it? Okay, now coming to the maximum number of electrons this 1s orbital can accommodate. See, this is the total number of orbitals and this is different. Okay, why I say 4 1s? Because s has only one orientation, so only 1s orbital can exist. But p can exist in 3 different orientations, is it not? I told you p is a dumbbell shaped orbital and you can have px, py and pz. Three orientations. So p means 3 orbitals. It can be px, it can be py, it can be pz. So totally 3. So 3 plus 1, 4. That is why I have written 4 here. So here why I have written 9? Because s can happen only, s has only one orientation. So only one orbital, because sphere you cannot say which is x direction, y direction and z direction. So only one s is possible. But in p you have 3 orbitals, px, py and pz. Similarly in d we have 5 orbitals, 1, 3, 5 and 7. Okay. So f orbital is 7. So 7 plus 5, 12, 12 plus 3, 15, 15 plus 1, 16. Total number of orbitals is 16. So maximum number of electrons those orbitals can accommodate, 2n. So 2 into 1, so 2 electrons. Now next coming to this, 2 into 4, 8 electrons. 2 9s are 18, 18 electrons. 2 16s are 32. So totally 32 electrons can exist in n shell. So now you understood what is principal quantum number. Principal quantum number is actually 1, 2 and 3 and 4. They are real numbers. Okay, they are real numbers. They specify the shell. If I say 1s, okay, size of the orbital is, you can identify. 1s means it is very near to the nucleus. If it is 4s means it is away from the nucleus. So you can understand the size also, and the energy also you can understand from the principal quantum number. Next is orbital quantum number. Okay, orbital quantum number identifies the subshell, determines the shape of the orbitals, energy of the orbitals, okay, and along with the principal quantum number and the orbital quantum number. So the number of orbitals in the subshell, I told you know this 1, 4, 9 and 16 number of orbitals, how they found out, using this value 2l plus 1. Now you see S, P, D and F, these are notations of the subshell. So what is the value of L here? L value is 0 means it has the notation S. If the L value is 1, the notation is P. If the L value is 2, the notation is D. If the L value is 3, the notation is F. 4 means G. So total number of orbitals S can have 2L plus 1 formula. So 2 into 0 plus 1, only one orbital S can have. And what about your P? 2L plus 1. 2 into 1 plus 1, 3. So 3 orbitals it can have. What are those 3 orbitals? Px, Py and Pz. So if it is 2, value of L is 2 means it has 5 orbitals. How I found out? 2L plus 1. 2 into 2, 4 plus 1, 5. Got it? So this is how I found out how many orbitals each subshell has. So for S, only one orientation sphere, is it not? One S orbital. Then Px, Py and Pz. Dx, dy, dx, dy, dz, dx square minus y square and dz square. These are the 5 orbitals. Then this is the F orbitals. Totally 7 orbitals you have. How I found out this? Using the azimuthal quantum number. When the L value is 0, how many orbitals? What is the name of the orbital? S. When the L value is 0, the name of the orbital is S, and 2L plus 1 number of orbitals it can have. When the L value is 1, it is the P orbital, and it can have 2L plus 1 orbital. So 2 into 1 plus 1, 3. Very, very important question, all these calculations. Initially it would be difficult for you, but once if you understand the concept, it is easy for you. Okay. Next, coming to the magnetic quantum number. So now you know what is principal quantum number, is it not? 1, 2, n. What is principal quantum number? The value is, the notation is n. So n can have what are the n can have the values 1, 2, 3 and 4. And what about L? L is the azimuthal quantum number. So what are the values of L? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 0 means S, 1 means P, 2 means D, 3 means F. So you know this. And how many orbitals each shell can have? 2L plus 1 orbital. Is it not? And what is the magnetic quantum number? Magnetic quantum number gives us the orientation. Okay, how many orientations for each L value? So for this, what is the formula? Lm is equal to minus L2 plus L. Okay, minus L2 plus L. So here, okay, that calculation I'll show you now. So for S orbital, how many orientation? Only one orientation. What is the value of L? 0. Minus L2 plus L means what? Minus 0 to plus 0 means only one orientation. There is no more orientation. Now coming to the p orbital. What is the L value? L value is 1. Minus L2 plus L. How to write? Minus 1, 2 plus 1. Okay. So minus L to this many orientations we can have. For each L value we can have this many orientations. So for p orbital, what is the L value? Minus 1 to plus 1. Minus 1 to plus 1. So in between how many values? Only one value is there, 0. So minus 1, 0 and 1. So 3 orientations are possible. For this d orbital, same, minus L to plus L. What is the value for d? Okay, what is the value for d? Minus 2. So minus 2 to plus 2. In between how many values you have? Minus 1, 0, then plus 1. Plus 1 and plus 2. So totally how many values? 5 values. So 5 orientations. This is your magnetic quantum number. So what is the formula for finding out the magnetic quantum number? Minus L to plus L. And what is the symbol for magnetic quantum number? M, small m. Okay, what is the spin quantum number? Spin quantum number means any electron can have 2 different orientations, or an electron can spin clockwise and anti-clockwise. So I told you in s orbitals 2 electrons can accommodate as a maximum. Okay, 2 electrons can accommodate. One electron, if it spins clockwise, other electron would spin anti-clockwise. But 2 electrons will not have the same spin. Okay, if one electron rotates clockwise, other electron would rotate anti-clockwise. So it can have plus half value and minus half value. Okay, so usually it should cancel out, plus half and minus half. If they both have the same spin, then you will call them as they would repel each other. So how to denote that? So what I will do is, so usually if an orbital can accommodate 2 electrons, I denote like this, one with the upward arrow and one with the downward arrow. Upward arrow means what? It has the clockwise spin. Downward arrow means what? It has the anti-clockwise spin. And what is the value for this plus half, for this minus half? Okay, as I already told you, in this we have 4 quantum numbers, but principal, azimuthal or orbital, then magnetic, 3 quantum numbers. Okay, n, l and m. These 3 quantum numbers are very, very important to describe an orbital. Okay, but if you want to describe an electron, then you need this quantum number also. The 4th quantum number, spin quantum number also we need. Okay, now putting all the things together what we have learnt now. So n can have, what are the values? 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Because this 1 means it lies in the K shell. 2 means it lies in the L shell. 3 M, 4 N. Okay. Okay, now what are the values of L? How to find out L? 0 to n minus 1. So 1 means it can have 0 to n minus 1 value. So 0. Okay, next coming to the, for 2, if the n value is 2, how many orbitals it can have? It can have 0 to n minus 1. So 0 and n minus 1 is 1. So 0 and 1 it can have. This is 0, 1 and 2. This is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Got it? So n shell can have 0. 0 means what? S orbital. So 1s it can have. Next 2, 0 means 2s, 2p. It can have. L shell can have 2s and 2p. 3 M shell can have 3s, 3p, 3d. 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. Next coming to this orientations, magnetic quantum number. So you know the name of the orbital. You can name the orbital using principal quantum number and the orbital quantum number. And the number of orbitals also you can calculate like this. Or you can also calculate like 2l plus 1 orbitals it can have. So 2l. 2l means what? 2 into 0 plus 1. So 1 orbital it can have. This one value means it can have 2l plus 1 orbital. So 2 into 1 plus 1, 3. So that is why 3 p orbitals we are getting. Got it? So you can just total values for total number of orbitals you can use this formula 2l plus 1, and for orientation you can use this formula. This table is going to be very, very important. Sure questions from this table. Okay. So please go through, and also total electrons also you can calculate. 2n electrons, is it not? 2 into 1, then this one you have to use this 1 2l4 4 orbitals, so 2 4s are 8 electrons in total. Okay, then together I have given in different colors, so I think you can easily find out this. So principal quantum number, symbol is n, and any positive integer, this will give us orbital size and energy level. And angular quantum number or azimuthal quantum number, the symbol is L, 0 to n minus 1, orbital shape it gives us. Magnetic quantum number, orientation. Then spin quantum number, electron spin direction, clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So I already told you, if one is, see, with this upward arrow and the downward arrow, if it is rotating clockwise, that is having a plus half spin, and if the electron is rotating anti-clockwise, it has a minus half spin. So I have denoted like this. See, upward arrow and downward arrow means 2 electrons in one shell. Got it? So again I have given you this orientations, all this. Okay, next one more thing what you have to learn is nodal surfaces. See, nodal surfaces means, I told you in s orbital the shape is spherical, meaning what? The electron can occur anywhere in that sphere, in the spherical region, anywhere it can occur. Only one electron, but anywhere in that spherically, anywhere you can find out that electron. Okay, like if you are there, if you are in your house, okay, where you are available where you are available in the night time, in your bedroom, anywhere you will be you will be find out in your bedroom, is it not? But that room is the square shaped room. In that square shape you can be found anywhere. That is what we are saying. Or if it is our house, in anywhere in the house we can be found, but we don't know where we are found exactly, because if you are keep on moving here and there, we cannot say exactly where you are, but I can say you are in your house. Is it not? Similar, like that only. But there are some regions where you cannot find out the electron. They are called nodal surfaces. Okay, nodal surfaces or simply nodes. Next we have radial nodes and angular nodes. So radial nodes means the probability density of an electron is 0. Finding an electron, the probability of finding the electron is 0 on a spherical surface in a particular radius. That is called radial nodes. Radial nodes formula n minus L minus 1. Angular nodes formula n minus 1. Now what is radial node? See, radial node means sphere. Is it not? S orbital has a sphere like this. But everywhere you are capable of finding out that anywhere, everywhere in the sphere. But once if you come out of this shell, then you cannot find out the electron in between. So that is a radial node. In this you cannot find out electron. Only in this particular region you can find out. But outside the region you cannot find out. That is a radial node. Okay. But in the angular node, what is angular node? See, you take the p orbital. It is a dumbbell shape. I told you electron can be found anywhere, but not in this region. Probability of finding an electron is 0 at the meeting point of the two lobes. Okay, meeting point of the upward circle and the downward lobe. So when at the meeting point, at the intersection point of the two lobes, you cannot find out the electron. That is a nodal point. What is the formula for finding out that? N minus 1. So if I say 4s orbital, what is the n value? 4. N is equal to 4, is it not? I told you 4s. So n is equal to 4. So what is the angular nodes? 4 minus 1. 3 angular nodes are possible. So 1 in px orbital, 1 in py orbital, and 1 in pz orbital. Now you see the s electron. Radial nodes means radial nodes are present only in s orbitals, because that circular shaped, spherical shaped is only s orbital. So the radial nodes are present only in the this. So now you see this orange one is 1s orbital. Okay. Next the 2s orbital is starting. So 1s orbital is orange colored, and this blue colored is 2s orbital. So in that orange portion you can find out the electron, but you see the white portion in between. In that white portion we cannot find out the electron. Is it not? So those are radial nodes. Only in s orbital your radial nodes exist. Now some questions for practice. So what orbital is this? You see how many lobes are present here. What is the shape of the lobe you see? For the two orbitals shown below, what are the values of the principal quantum number and the relative angular notes? Okay, so you see this, it is, okay, you see this orbital. How many lobes you have? 1, 2, 3, 4 lobes you have. So it must be d orbital. Okay, it must be d orbital. And here how many lobes you have? 1, 2. It's not spherically shaped. So this must be p orbital. Px, py orbital. You can find out what is n. Once if you know the shape of the orbital, once if you know the name of the orbital, if this is p, n is equal to what? Okay, what is the n? What is the n? Is it 4s orbital or 4p or 3p? That we have to find out. Okay, that we have to find out. So once if you know that, you can find out the angular notes and the radial notes. That's a problem for practice. Okay, now coming to the Aufbau principle. I told you we have several orbitals. So based on the quantum numbers, we have found out that these many orbitals do exist. So 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, till 8s orbitals do exist, and 2p, 3p, 4p, 5p, 6p, 7p orbitals exist, and 3d, 4d, 5d and 6d orbitals exist, and 4f and 5f orbitals exist. Okay, now coming to the filling up of the electrons in these orbitals. How to write down the electronic configurations? So you have to follow this order. First 1s comes, then 2s, then 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s. Okay, it goes like this. So this is the order you have to follow when you fill up the electrons in the orbitals. If I give you an atom, say sodium, what is the atomic number for sodium? Sodium atomic number is 11. So how those 11 electrons are distributed? Okay, so first in the s orbital, then in the 2s, then in the 2p, then in the 3s, like that. So each orbital you are going to give 2 electrons. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. For s orbital only 2 electrons it can accommodate. P orbital can accommodate 6 electrons because p has 3 orbitals, px, py and pz. So totally it can occupy 6 electrons. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 10 electrons, 3s 1. Okay, last 1 electron will go into the 3s orbital. Okay, we'll do more examples for that Aufbau principle. Next, what is Pauli's exclusion principle? No 2 electrons in an atom can have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay, if you have 2 electrons in an atom, they cannot have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. Only 2 electrons may exist in the same orbital, and these electrons must also have the opposite spin. So this is Pauli's exclusion principle. All these small definitions also very important. So maximum of 2 electrons only can occur, and they are always paired like this, having opposite spins or opposite moment, clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction. So they cannot have the same spin. In one particular orbital they cannot have the same spin. That is called as Pauli's exclusion principle. Next, Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So pairing of electrons in the orbital belonging, so if you are having 10 electrons, when this pairing would take place? So 10 electrons it will distribute like this, 1, 2, this is a d orbital because you have 5 shells. P orbital means you have 3 shells, is it not? So d means you have 5 shells, 3, 4, 5. So how the filling would take place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Initially you have to distribute 1 electron to each orbital. Then only the pairing will take place. You cannot simply pair it up. In each shell you cannot pair it up and just go. First you have to fill. Each shell should contain at least 1 electron each. Then pairing would take place. That is called as Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. So I have 8 electrons. I give you 8 electrons. So how do you fill it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then pairing, opposite spin, 6, 7 and 8. So this is how the filling should be done. Okay, shall we write electronic configuration now? So first I am giving you an atom, oxygen. How many electrons for oxygen? 8 electrons. So I have to follow this scheme I have to follow. So this flow chart I have to follow. So first one is 1s, then 2s, then 2p. So S always has 2 electrons. S always have whatever 1s or 2s or till 7s, whatever the S is, it can have only 2 electrons. S can hold up to 2 electrons. P can hold up to 8 electrons. D can hold up to 10 electrons. So this 8 electrons I am distributing like this. 1s2, 2s2 and 2p 4 only. It can hold up to 6 electrons. It is not that it always should have 6 electrons. The valence shell, it will not always be filled. Only the remaining electrons will get into the valence shell. Sometimes it is completely filled, sometimes it is not. So 2 electrons, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 4, 8. So this 8 electrons I am distributing in this way. Okay, if it is 10 electrons, I would write 2p6. Then it is completely filled. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 means it filled 10 electrons, so completely filled. If it is 11 electrons, after this 2p6, okay, which orbital it should go? So 1s, 2s, 2p, then 3s. It should go into the 3s. So for 11 electrons, the last one electron will get into 3s orbital. Okay, next coming to the vanadium. The atomic number is 23. So first you can write 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s and 3d. So for s, 2 electron, s 2 electron, p 6 electron, 3s 2 electron, 3p 6 electron, 4s 2 electron. So totally 20 electrons I have filled. And how many electrons are remaining? Only 3. So what is the last orbital? 3d. So into 3d, 3 electrons I am filling. Okay, last 3 electrons are getting into 3d. This is your valence shell. Okay, so this is how we have to write the electronic configuration. So for this chart is very important. How the electrons is flowing. Why we are arranging like this? Based on the energy levels we are arranging like this. This 1s means it has lower energy, then slightly higher energy, keeps on, energies keep on increasing. And also for electronic configuration for ions also can be written. So anions means what? 1 electrons, extra electrons, if it has, you call it as anions. If they are deficit of electrons, you call them as cations. So chlorine means 16. Chlorine is 17. Na? Yes. 10. Yes, 17 electrons for chlorine. So chlorine is having an electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p5. So Cl minus means what? It has 1 electron extra. So 3p5, I am writing it as 3p6. Got it? For anions. Next for cations. Iron is having 26 electrons. So I have given only the last shell. Here you wrote, no, you will have the same electronic configuration for iron also, but 3d6, because iron atomic number is 26. So the last, here it is only 23, no, for vanadium. For iron it is 26. So 3d will be 6. So 4s2, 3d6. Now for iron 3 plus means 3 electron deficient. So when you remove electron, you have to remove from s only first. Only for this d orbital case. Only for the d orbital case, you cannot straight away remove the electron. Very, very important point. You always, all the children make this mistake. What they will do, if I give iron 3 plus, they will write 4s2, 3d3. They will remove the 3 electron from the d orbital. But in the d orbital, removing the electron is not that easy. So you have to remove from the s orbital, then from the d orbital. So for iron 3 plus, 4s0, 3d5. Okay, so 2 electrons from S I have removed and 1 electron from D. Why I am doing like this? This is energetically favorable. Okay, energetically removing S electron is easy when compared to the D electron. That is one reason. And when I do that also, I am getting 3d5 configuration. So D always can have 5 orbitals. Is it not? So 3d5 means what? All the orbitals have at least 1 electron each. That is called as a half-filled configuration. Half-filled configuration is a stable configuration. So it prefers to lie in this state. That is why we are removing 3 electrons in this manner. Okay, but for other atoms no problem. If there is no D, no problem. Simply you can remove from the last shell. That's not a problem. Only if in the D electrons, no, you have to remove the S. Though it comes in front, it's not a valence shell. Though it comes front, energetically removing the electron from the S orbital is more favorable. So this is all the important points I have discussed. So we are completing the chapter, first chapter. Okay, we are completing the very difficult and important chapter, an interesting chapter. So study hard. It may seem impossible for you, is it not? Because it may take some time. It's totally different. Learning online is totally different now. But still, we human beings can adapt to any situations. That is why we are still surviving in this world for lakhs and lakhs of years. Many species which have born in this world some lakhs and lakhs of years ago, they are now extinct. They are no more because they cannot survive the change. Only we human beings are surviving the change. That's why we are living. So remember, this is also one such change. We have to adapt to it, and feeling of success is the best thing in the entire world. So I hope you will do well. So meet you in the next class with another chapter. Okay, bye bye.